As Nigerians, politicians in particular, align for the next election, stories of defection and counter-defection, if you like, have occupied the headlines, the front pages, the first stories that you will see in most cases. Denials and counter-denials are going on. But you know, in all of this, the rule of law is the heart, it's at the heart of democracy. What's the position of the law on defection for the executive and for the legislature in particular? Well, Dr. Monday Obani joins us this morning. He's a senior advocate of Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
First of all, what's your reading legally of all that's going on? Do you see consideration for the law in all of the announcements that we're hearing?
Well, the position of things is that there is a lacuna even in the law itself, you know, with regards to defections. It only made a provision with regards to legislators, those who make laws, both at the state or at the federal level. If you look at section 68 or 109 of the Constitution, specifically says this will happen to you if you defect from a political party, you know, that actually brought you to power.
As a legislator.
As a legislator, you will lose your seat. However, the same Constitution went ahead and made a proviso saying if there is a division within your political party, then your defection will be very valid. Or if there is issue of merger within that same political party, then your defection, if you can provide evidence to that effect, it means that your defection is also valid. Then I've always said it, and I think Maokwe will agree with me now, because the Supreme Court has affirmed what I said. It's only the court at every point in time with regards to whether a legislator has lost his or her seat that will determine that issue, because it's a factual issue. Provided the Constitution itself now made a proviso. So if you say, I defected because there is crisis or there is division, and the person who has taken you to court said, no, the political party you are in, there is no crisis, there is no division. So it becomes a matter of evidence, and which arm of government is in a better position to adjudicate over such differences of opinion or facts? It is the court. You know, so the court will always be in a position to say, oh, you have lost your seat because of the fact that you have defected. So that is with regards to legislators. But for executive, there is no provision, except now that, you know, there is an idea coming up that we should also include the executive, because this issue of defection is not helping the political system. Yes.
We'll come to the executive in a bit, but even for the legislature, over time, we have seen some rough play, if I can put it that way, in some states with the quote-unquote upper hand of the executive over them. And I find it ironic, because in the Constitution, the legislature always came before the executive, always comes before the executive. The arrangement is legislature, executive, and judiciary. And I think that the Constitution is deliberate in that. It would seem then that even the legislature is not holding its ground as the supposed head of the three arms of government.
Well, I don't know whether there is any head, but the point is that if you say it the way you are saying it, that the legislators are closer to the people. You know, you remember that in the House of Reps, we have almost 300 and...
You don't see the arrangement of the Constitution as
well, the Section 4 deals with the legislators, and then Section 5. And then, you know, the other section deals with the judiciary. So I didn't see that. I don't personally see that arrangement as trying to... But the point, no, I understand the point you are trying to make.
Yes.
They are closer. Look at the issue of House of Reps, you know, and then Senate. Remember, you know, they are divided in such a manner that they are very, very closer to the grassroots.
Okay.
So they represent the people. They are the voice of the voiceless. They are the voice of the people. So in that regard, I might agree with you that, look, these people, you know, supposed to, because they actually oversight the executive. They also oversight the judiciary. So any particular arm that sits down and says, look, we are not getting it right, you are doing it wrongly, and all that, you know, is supposed to be, you know, the head. But then in pure description of democracy and how it works, there is no head, there is no tail. They all are independent. working in complement for the sake of giving the people good governance, So I don't want to place anyone above, so there won't be any argument about it. Yes,
I'm reading English and I'm reading order. Before the legislature is the people, is the citizen of Nigeria.
Correct. You're very correct about that. Yes.
Now, to the issue at hand, and from your response, do you see the legislature in various parts of the country, a quick one, by the way, when the Supreme Court made that declaration that there was no crossing over, no cross-carpeting in Rivers State. There are those who argue that, hey, these people actually moved. But the Supreme Court says they didn't move because they were at a rally and, they declared that their allegiance to another political party. Do you see a confusion there?
My problem is that pronouncement was made by the Supreme Court, and not at the court of first instance. This ought to have, there's supposed to have been a suit initiated by the political party, like PDP, saying, look, you left our political party for no just cause. There is no reason for you to have done that. Then they will now advance reason why they left, whether there is any such, reason for them to have left. So it is at that point that the court will look at the facts that has been adduced by PDP, and then look at the fact that have been adduced by those who allegedly have defected. And then based upon a balance of probability, the court will now reach a conclusion that in fact there was a proper defection or the defection was invalid. But at the Supreme Court, there was no evidence, so it was maybe so motu. The Supreme Court now took it. Look, the issue of defection still has to be decided by the court. Are you following me? And maybe at that point, the court now also so motu decided that these people have not actually defected. But I want a situation where the court would have been in the first instance receiving evidence of both. I defected because there is crisis or division. No, there was no crisis. Then the court now will now, based upon balance of probability, give a decision that will allow either attune with justice or go contrary to that. But that wasn't that opportunity up to now. And then the problem again with Rivers State is that at a time, most of the cases were withdrawn when there was this agreement reached, on understanding that was signed by both parties. So at that point, even the counter that would have been in a position to give the court opportunity to decide those issues on facts were not there anymore. So that was the error that was committed. And that was why, before you people, I said, look, the best thing for Rivers is for this matter to be settled peacefully. Let both parties, because if you want the court to determine this matter, oh my God, the court will decide in favor of one person, and that person that loses will not be in a position to appreciate the justice of the case. That peaceful resolution would have been the ideal. I was being abused, I was being called them, but now are we not coming back to that same decision that they are going to resolve the matter peacefully? Well,
let's hope that happens.
Yes, sir.
How about Delta State?
Yes.
The whole apparatus of a major opposition party moved into another political party.
Yes.
In bulk, wholesale. That is the declaration. And we understand that the Delta State governor was telling journalists last week that wait for my declaration on Monday. So,
which is today.
How do you see that? How is this, if the legislature also moves as the declaration has been made?
Yes.
What happens?
Now, what has happened with regards to Delta? I look at the political system in Nigeria, and then I look at the description of what political party is supposed to, stand for in democracy. Political party is a party you believe in due to ideology. But in Nigeria, it's a different ballgame entirely. Politicians see political party as a platform under which they can ascend to power. I hope you are listening to me, Ayo.
Yes.
The political party in Nigeria is not being defined by ideology. Any Nigerian politician entering into politics sees which platform will give me access to power. He is not believing in that political party because of any ideology that has been professed or have been, put out there. If it provides the platform for me to access power, then that is a political party too. So I don't know the reason why.
I'm looking at the impact or the likely repercussion of the defection of the legislators according to law.
As legislators from Rivers, from Delta, did they also declare? Did they also defect? Because it was the governor, the former governor. I had, I listened to his declaration that he has moved. Then the governor, the present governor, is also doing his own declaration today openly. But I don't know about the legislator. But if the legislators also move, the issue is that where are they living? And the law says if you leave without any proof that there is division within your political party, then automatically you have lost your. You lose your seat if PDP or whoever challenges that you have defection, and the court now look at the evidence that you left for no just cause, then you lose your seat. It is the court that will still determine it. That's the problem. It is not automatic because, just as you declare, then you have lost your seat. The problem is that proviso in the law, and that's what I want Nigerians to understand. The moment that proviso is put there, it then means that he has raised issue of facts. And the only arm of government that can determine facts is the court.
Now, what are the facts needed to prove that defection has happened?
Beautiful. When you say you have moved, the court is now saying that, look, for mere declaration, if I get Realignment State pronouncement, correctly, the mere pronouncement or even affidavit is no longer enough. That what happens that you must also have been registered in the new political party. That your name must be in the register of the new political party. Because whoever is alleging that must prove. So if you are saying that I have moved, for the fact that you made mere declaration is not enough. That there must be your name in the new political party you have moved to. That is what all of us gathered from Now River's declaration. Are you following me? It is the court that actually determines what law is. You can make the law, but when the court makes a pronouncement, that is the law. So that's what we're saying with Rivers now, that mere declaration is not enough. That your name must be at the word where you come from in the party's register. If it's not there, then you are not yet a defected member.
I'm wondering how the governor will govern if the legislature is in the opposition. Don't answer it yet. I think Markwe may have one or two questions.
I'm waiting for Markwe. Look, I'm in the box.
Go ahead, Markwe.
Well, indeed, controversy will arise on this one because now there's dispute as to whether or not lawmakers in Rivers State have moved or haven't moved. But I think looking at the larger and broader conversation, there have been questions as to, whether or not Nigeria is becoming a one-party state, given the gale of defections we're seeing into the APC. People are asking questions such as, why is it the APC? Because I think even over the weekend, the presidency had cause to respond to those who are raising an alarm, saying that it's not the president's job to organize the opposition. But I think beyond these conversations, people are also afraid that attention will be taken away from the real issues, which is governance, which is about the people. For you as a lawyer and someone who also watches the political space, how concerned are you that these, will I say, realignment and alignments will remove conversations from what exactly is important, which is the security and welfare of the people of Nigeria?
Mokwe, that's how we roll in the country. Anytime it's 2 years to the election, general election, governance is put aside. I tell you, from next year, if you have not gotten anything in terms of good governance for the people, you will see that all the politicians will concentrate on their political survival and then how election of 2027 will play out. That's how it has always been, and it's not right. I certainly agree with you. There are issues that are contending for attention, and the politicians should pay attention to them. The issue of insecurity, the issue of the economics, hardship, there is so much hardship in the land, and of course the politicians also echo it and agree. But how are they addressing those issues, But here now, it's like football. This is an open season. Transfers have started to take place. People are taking a queue, being behind one political party or the other, and then it's like APC now is the honey pot that everyone is actually gravitating towards. And the reasons are not, they're not far-fetched. This is a political party that is actually in the national at the national level, and then has all the instrument of power. So everyone will want to ensure that he survives, and that is actually what is going on now. And governance is clearly going to be at bay, put at abeyance, for the next 2 years. So whatever we have not gotten from 2023, just by the grace of God, we will get it from 2026 and 27, because attention now will be how 2027 will play out. It's unfortunate, but that is the reality with Nigeria. And that is what has always been going on. And people have been saying, look, are there no ways we can do ours differently? You know, in a better manner. We have seen other nations do theirs and all that. We don't see all this issue of transfers that happen. I mean, America just had an election recently. The same with Britain. Did you see all those major political party members moving from one political party to another? But in Nigeria, they see political party as a platform to access to power, to have access to power, not as an ideological platform. You know, you believe in this ideology and you stick to it. No. The point is that with this particular party, does it have structure that will enable my access to power? If it does, then that is where everyone faces his face. So it is a problem. It is a problem for us. I agree with you that issue of governance may likely be in abeyance in the light of these recent defections and movement. You know, it's an open...
and the idea... The idea behind different political party platforms is to give the people alternatives. So, for instance, in a state like Delta, where the governor was in the PDP, he says he's now defected, even though now, from what you have also said, we cannot say that he's fully defected until maybe a court of law says so. We cannot take politicians at their words anymore, can we? But looking at, you know, what has now happened, ideally, assuming he was still in the PDP till the next elections, it should be that the people of Delta State will have, you know, a flurry of options that they can look at and say, oh, how has the governor performed? You know, if we're happy with his performance, we give him another term. If we're not happy with his performance, we have an alternative. But now that, you know, he's been happily welcomed into what should have been an alternative, there are big questions as to what are the options for the people? Are the options for the people expanding, or do you think that the chances for the people, you know, to have an array of options ahead of not just the 2027 elections, but generally, because in democracy it should be about choice, shouldn't it?
With you. The two major political parties in Nigeria today is PDP and APC, and that is the truth. Unless we're hearing about coalition talks between Atiku and P2B. We don't know what actually will come out of that particular talk. But for now, the major political parties that have structure in the country is PDP and APC. And for the Deltans, as rightly pointed out, they may be looking, okay, this man is in PDP. If he doesn't perform, we look towards the direction of APC. But we now have a situation where the man in PDP now, as the entire machinery, is moving towards another major political party. So as the question is, what alternative do the people in Delta have, you know, in 2027? The only alternative for them now will be if there is another political party with structure that will give them that opportunity to say, okay, if we don't like this man and his policies, you know, in the political party that he belongs, we have a choice for another political party. I don't know whether that choice now will still be available, you know, if there is coalition talk that works and present an alternative. But for now, the two major political parties, as I said earlier, is APC and PDP. And now the man has moved from another, you know, major political party in Syria. I mean, when in Britain, they have this club, you know, Club A, you know, which is a major club, moving to another club again, which is also a major club. So the minority club, if they are not in coalition, we limit the choices of the Delta, and that is the truth of the matter. And so that's where I understand it. The two major political parties are playing each other. From one, he has moved over to two, and both of them have structure. So the people may be limited in their choices, you know, in 2027, unless there emerges a third force that is big enough, that has structure on ground to give them an alternative.
How confident are you that that can happen ahead of 2027?
I'm not God, but I know there are talks. But I'm not God. I don't know what will actually play out. You know, 2027 is still far. So Nigerians maybe will be praying and hoping for a major political party to also come up. For now, PDP has an internal issue, and they are yet to resolve that issue. And now, majority of the PDP governors, I understand, are also trying to do a transfer to APC, especially to those from the south and all that. And there is reason. It's not south issue. For the south, they have to do their 8 years. So any northerner coming now at this point in time, we want to truncate that, do I call it an informal arrangement, That 8 years for the North, which Buhari did, now he has come down to South. And a Southerner is in power. It would be wrong for any Northerner now to, come out, and say, I want to truncate that arrangement. It may not work, So a lot of Southerners are taking a cue, queuing behind a political party that can give a Southerner the same opportunity of additional 4 years. Yes.
Just one quick one before we go.
Yes.
What are we saying to young people by these predictable arrangements? Almost every time there is a major election cycle coming, there is always a movement, as Marco pointed out, to one side or movement to the other that is in power. What are we saying to the young people? It will seem like we're just continuing in the same way and expecting that nothing is going to happen. What if the young people in their volumes, making more than 60% of the population of Nigeria, decide we had enough, we're going to do something about this? Is the political class looking in that direction to take caution and say, let's be careful, let's bring these young people in?
The issue of bringing the young people in is one thing we have always debated, and of course there was a law that was passed that actually say not too young to the young ones, but the point is that you must give them opportunity. Almost all the political parties still do not give the young ones that opportunity that they deserve in order to be part of the entire process, which is very important. Now, the political parties that have structure most times do not in any way pay attention to the young ones, even to their yearnings, even to their aspirations. We should be worried because the young ones are leaving Nigeria in droves to foreign country for the greener pastures because the environment is not conducive. So the politicians must be very ready to create a conducive environment for everyone to operate. We have a country and we want to build the country. And the world is being built by the young ones. They have energy, they have intellect, they have knowledge, but they are not giving that opportunity. The few ones that have been given also sometimes mess it up and then give a bad, image of the young ones being given an opportunity. I've seen young ones also that have been given that opportunity. So we must balance it. But I'm not saying that you just, have all the young ones running the government. No, you also a mix of it. But the most important thing that you must carry them along because the world belongs to them. They are the one that tomorrow, they look up to a country that will make them, very conducive, to work and bring their intellect. They have so much energy, but they are not being allowed to exercise that energy for the benefit of the country.
Well, we see what the gale of defections the fruits it will bring to us in the nation as we project, as we go on. I don't even want to talk about 2027 yet because, as you said, it's way too far from here. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me. Marco, thank you.
Dr. Monday Ubani is a senior advocate of Nigeria. We appreciate your time again.